here we go, sports fans. It's another great night for Helmetball. It's me, your favorite commentator, Howard Johnson, no relation. And the kickoff is already underway. Houston has kicked off to the Brea Raptors. And today, for this very special game, we have a real treat for you today, everybody. We have brought someone back from retirement. Not sure if it's a one-time engagement or if it's going to be kind of a long-standing thing. I guess that's up to him, but I would like to welcome, a very warm welcome to his first IHL game, Hank Dankly. How are you, Hank?
Well, what do you say there, Bill? I'm having just a heck of a time here. I accidentally doubled up on my blood thinners earlier, so I'm feeling pretty gosh darn good right now. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to be with you.
Okay. Well, Howard Johnson, no relation. Not Bill, but yes, no, it's great to have you. Oh, already just a major hit on Binger from Frederick.
Serious tackle from Frederick there. Pardon. Let me know if I'm stepping on your webs there, Jack.
Okay. Well, you're not. English drops back. Jack English, of course, the normal starter here, but word has it that Peebles the Lesser might be taking his spot this season. Jack English did not have a great season last year, and that's the reason why we see him starting tonight. They're really kind of trying to see, just what he could do, but Peebles' game last week just really blew people out of the water. Already 4 out, Sawyer having to kick it, and now Houston has the ball. Now, Hank, obviously there's now 32 teams, now that the leagues have sort of come together to create the IHL. But back when there was just sort of 16 teams that you had to sort of deal with on a weekly basis, what's it like stepping in with more teams, more names, more places to go?
Well, see, things are a little different now than they used to be. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The way the rule book has not necessarily changed, but is being interpreted differently. You see, back when these games were first being televised, this is a sport that has always sort of thrived on controversy. I mean, if you.
Sure. Speaking of controversy, actually, it's funny that you just said that. They just had a penalty for controversy on the field because they threw an interception, and the ref is saying that he's going to allow the interception, but he doesn't like it, which is very weird. Referees are not supposed to have, personal opinions about teams. Very weird penalty.
Not necessarily, but that kind of harkens back to an older era of the game where that sort of thing was allowed. I mean, it's the kind of play, those refs in the old days, they would find a little bit of wiggle room in the rule book, and they would just tie that thing to the fender of their Ford Pinto and just take off screaming down the road with it like a loose tooth. And so it's kind of, it's a bit of nostalgia for me to see these refs, calling things the way they used to. It's sort of a warm welcome back into the way, into
I'm glad that we could do that. And speaking of glad, I'm sure Jensen is feeling mighty fine right now.
Look at that.
That's
Look at the
Jensen
on the field out there.
Vonnie Jensen, the 4-year tight end here, doing a great job, it seems. And we're kicking the ball off again. And this time it's out to Killens. And Killens, can he stay? No, he's down now. Let's see, what is that? That's like around the 35, it looks like. Maybe 34. Yeah, just a little shy. Let's see, who are Houston putting in? I'm sure Airplane Cookies is probably not playing today. Yeah, it looks like Edwards. Edwards looks like he's on the cutting block, to be honest. Oh, God. Bowers picks up a fumble. This game is already looking like it's going to be an absolute steal for the Brea Raptors.
Can't say I'm upset about that there, Jim.
Oh, are you a big Brea Raptors fan?
When they first incorporated, there are several players there that used to, that played on teams for, which I rooted for before the league was, started, as college players and.
Okay.
Beg my pardon.
What kind of who are you a fan of their college careers?
Well, I'm thinking about they've got a starter named Justin Truss, and this kid, when he was coming up, just holy cow, the legs on that kid. I mean, you know, you stop on a dime and give you 9 cents change.
Yes, that is a very important factor. You know, you have to be able to have your coin purse ready at all times. Money changing or an exchange of money is a very weirdly important part of the helmet ball.
I know, and the exchange rate just continues to fluctuate. I have to keep a notebook by me at all times to make sure that these conversions are getting harder and harder to keep track of as you get older. Everything is on a screen now. They won't let me use my quill. They won't let me use my inkwell in the studio anymore. They say that it's a fire hazard or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say, Hank, the ink that you are famous for using, it does contain bits of gasoline. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
It is petroleum-based, yes, that's true, but it really adheres to the paper much better that way.
Yes,
I can't be faulted for buying quality products.
Well, I guess I can't blame you for that, for sure. But just, it's like the paper is already just sort of a tinder box waiting to happen. And then you add the gasoline and, now you're cooking with fire.
Well,
I believe the expression is cooking with grease.
They put up those no smoking signs, so I figured it wasn't as much of a fire hazard anymore.
Yeah, I can tell that you've brought it with you. It is quite pungent.
Scent is important. It's, it walks into the room before you do. It's a good first impression.
Oh, my God. I mean, once again, an interception in the end zone, and Reigns has continued to stay up, getting some good field there. Edwards, like I said, is on the cutting block, and I don't think that this is doing him much good.
Chewing some bubble gum there, probably, mint gum.
Are you a fan of mint gum?
Among other things, yes.
Oh, I see. Chewing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes. The cutting block, not chewing block. I think maybe I see where the confusion might be coming from. English dropping back to the 1. Good Lord. Now, so not to, bring back a lot of, old times or whatever, but Hank, you did play for the Bedford Dingbats back in the day. How much different is the sport from back when you were playing in college versus, now here sort of in like the pro leagues?
Holy cow, it's night and day difference. When I was there, it was Ray Swissberger was the head coach, and this guy, some people thought he was absolutely bonkers, and other people thought he was some sort of avant-garde genius, and personally I think it was a little bit of column A and a half dozen of the other, but that is neither here nor beside the point. There's a reason they called Ray Swissberger the Marcel Duchamp of Helmetball. I mean, this is the guy that, so for the entire 1979 season, this guy flipped the entire playbook 180 degrees so that all the players were facing the same direction on the field, and that's a good way to thwart the other guy's defense, but you'd have the opposing team's assistant coach up in the press box just absolutely chewing out the oversight committee, but they kept saying, no, let him play through. We want to see where this goes, because the principle of the whole game used to be the worse the game, the better the ratings. And I really, that I don't necessarily see that holding true today. I'm not the sharpest crayon on the tree, but I know 2 and 2 when I see one.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's this sort of weird dichotomy where they want to have a sort of a little bit more streamlined game, and yet frequently we find people finding the loopholes, and really exploiting them, and they frequently just sort of let it ride, sometimes probably too long, just to sort of see what happens. There's a little bit of experimentation that still happens. That sometimes I go, well, hold on now. Let's see. Well, speaking of, let's see Elliott walk right into the end zone.
Would you look at that?
Matt Elliott making it look easy, which is the first time that you could probably say that for the Houston space today. But you're not wrong. The sport has changed a lot. I mean, honestly, even since its first inception over 400 years ago, we're looking at a sport that has really changed through the times. Sometimes just sort of socially. There was a time in which you could only have young boys under the age of 16 play, and part of that was because of life expectancy. But then, the harder that they started hitting people, the more they thought, well, maybe this is child cruelty. So they decided, maybe we'll let adults play. So, the game has just really changed over time.
No, those kids were tough. I think they're tougher than we give them credit for. But you're absolutely right. Things have gotten more... you use the word streamline. I might use the word conservative or letter of the law. But the beautiful thing about the rule game of this book is that it was specifically written to be ambiguous. And so that it could be reworked as society continued to progress. But as time's gone on, the oversight committee is more concerned with the bottom line than with pushing any kind of boundaries. And I think we need someone like Swissberger. To this day, the mere mention of his name is enough to steam the collars of anyone in his conference. But I think anyone who's willing to, and you see this a lot in the European leagues with like the Prumpelshire HC. These people are not afraid to mess around with the rules a little bit just to keep some sorts of intrigue in the game. And I think that's what really propels the sport forward is the experimentation.
That does make a lot of sense. While you were explaining that, I did want to point out that there was a penalty. One of the most common penalties in the game is holding the wrist twice. But they did decline that so that they could get the punt. But there's only 30 seconds left, and they still have not used their last two timeouts. So I'm not really sure are they just not going to hike the ball? I don't understand what the gameplay choice here is. I mean, the clock continues to wind down. What are they doing out there? Looks like they're
sort of spending as much time as they possibly can. It looks like they're having a conversation down there, the two of them.
He keeps the center. What's his name again? Oh yeah, that's right, Tyler Epps. He just kept waving to someone further down the field and then kept patting.
He might have seen somebody that he recognized. I would wave too.
I mean, that's very possible. I mean, he kept patting Flash Reigns on the head there at the end. Very strange. But anyway, that takes us into halftime. So we'll be right back after these brief messages.
Here's a new nose flavor from a smell company. You know that smell everyone loves? That's right, gasoline. Gasoline-scented non-flammable aerosol. Give it a squirt. Unleaded. And it's safe for your brain. Clinically tested.
We are back. Welcome back. Hopefully you got to refill your Smoca-Cola. And we are kicking off this time over to Houston. So Houston has the ball. And already a penalty on the first. Oh, gosh. It looks like someone hit someone's helmet. You can't. Here's the thing. It's called Helmetball. But
that's the name of the game, for Pete's sake.
But you can't physically touch someone else's helmet. I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit more of just sort of like a personal space thing. I get that people hit each other, but
personal space.
I think maybe it's about concussions. To be honest, I know that we've become really sort of aware. The science behind concussions has been around for ages, but. Helmetball just sort of became, what's the word for it? Actually listened, became aware of it. I'm not sure what you want to call it, but, we didn't start paying attention to the science until 2 years ago. So I think that maybe we realized maybe we were wrong. And once again, another wrist hold twice penalty. And it's just really, it's going to kill them if they don't, get their act together.
This whole thing about the concussions. I mean, I played in college, and I don't think it had any kind of effect on me personally.
Sure. Yes.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. They brought out the chains, and it is a first down. They barely made it, but they've got there. Houston, with just a little bit left in the third quarter, we're about halfway through, and they still got a fourth quarter, but they've got to come back 7 points at the very least just to tie it up. So we got to see some moves like that from Easley. Ashton
Look at Easley go.
Easily making it down the field.
Easily one of my favorite players on the field.
Were
I
you
like
also a
these
fan of
jokes.
his? Yeah. Oh, okay. Were you actually a fan of his in college, or just going along
I was
with
making a play on words.
it? Okay. Well, hey, I'm fine with either one. It's fun to have someone in the booth. Not many people here like to do the wordplay. You might get Gene sometimes. To do something. Jordash Jenko, are you? I don't know if you probably have never worked with Jordash, have you?
No, I've never been in the same room together. With the exception of maybe some Hall of Fame inceptions, I don't believe we've any more than shaken hands with each other.
Sure. Yeah, he's a big fan of the wordplay, but not many other people are. Let's see, how many of the current commentators out there have you worked with? Have you? I know you haven't really commentated on any games since the IHL became a thing, but obviously some of us were here before the inception.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, and you'll forgive me. I am feeling a little, lightheaded, but this is normal. This is par for the course when you get to be my age.
It's probably that ink, to be honest with you. The vapors and the stuff from that is probably not helping. But yeah, sorry, please continue.
That's fine. The commentators are skewing younger and younger, and the only other Robert Maplethwip and I used to be very close friends, and he was. I started out doing stuff for the Pacific Conference, and he and I. My goodness, I haven't spoken to the man in 25 years, but every once in a while we would guest on a show. We would do sort of a host swap, if you will, and I would go down to his field, and he'd come up to mine, and we would trade off. And I think because I leave my book of stuff on my desk, and I read his. And
yes. Sorry, not to. I hate to keep doing this, but Malone just really tearing off and taking it most of the way down the field,
the game,
to get another touchdown. So Brea continues to widen the gap between Brea and Houston. So Killen's taking the ball again. It feels like Killens has had to catch that ball just so many times today. I did want to point out that Maplethwip, I'm not sure. Oh, gosh, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I don't know if anyone told you. Maplethwip, he did pass 3 years ago.
When was this?
2017.
My goodness.
Yes, unfortunately. I mean, he continued to try to commentate throughout the majority of his life, and he did die doing what he loved, which was commentating on a game. He was down at an Oklahoma City Panhandlers game, and there was a delay for a tornado, and yet he continued to try to commentate on what was happening at the field. And so sorry, I didn't mean to chuckle there. That was awful. It was just, he did go up in that tornado, though.
Well, like you said, he went out doing what he loved, and that's the kind of commitment that you want to see in a commentator. He wasn't the kind of guy to count his chickens before the horse.
That makes a lot of sense. He
does.
A powerhouse of a commentator for sure.
Absolutely. Strongest diaphragm in the game.
Now, you will notice that the Brea Raptors are doing a special little dance-off on the sideline to celebrate the wonderful playing that Brea is doing out here.
Is that a saraband? Maybe an allemande? Or a jig?
It's very possible. I think that a lot of the kids on what's that thing called, TikTok, I think they might call it the glitch.
The glitch.
Yeah,
I'm learning a lot today, Richard.
So, okay, Howard Johnson, no relation. What's that?
What?
Okay, sorry, I'll speak up. Just a little over 2 minutes left in the game. It's looking like Houston's not going to be able to pull this one back out. There is a penalty on the field, holding of the wrist twice.
It's another double hold. I'll tell you, this game has been just as many penalties as it has touchdowns. It's incredible. You know, these referees, I tell you, sometimes.
You tell me sometimes what?
You want to come over to my place for euchre after this?
I'm not honestly sure what euchre is, but to be honest,
Neither am I. We just kind of pass cards around and drink beer. Is that fine with you?
That sounds perfectly fine to me.
Fantastic.
What an honor.
See you at 3 a.m.
At 3, okay. 3 a.m., so, okay. Sure. That does, I guess that makes sense. You don't necessarily live close to this game. So I guess it is a little bit of a commute. Once again, I do want to thank you for coming out to this game. Means a lot. Now, they are going to try to go for that kick. I cannot believe that they did
Not
that.
the most.
Why would you not just... I mean, it's weird that you wouldn't punt it just to get the ball further away, but they give Houston the ball close to the 50. Whoa, they really go down the field. Oh, my gosh.
That is quite a... yes.
Gabriel Walls pulling it in. I'm flabbergasted, to be quite honest. The rest of the team is just really slow to get back to the line of scrimmage. Not sure why it took them that long, but easily getting it past the 20. Minute 20 left. I'm not 100% sure that Houston can pull this out, but they might be able to at least get a couple more points on the board just to really, keep that gap down. And also, Anthony Cross making a very, very strong case for himself to replace Edwards as the number 2 player here at Houston. And look at that, just like that, as I say it.
There it is.
A touchdown. Wow.
All right. Well, the gap is closing. I think, we've got 10 or so minutes left in the third quarter. And, by the end... Sorry, I was looking at... I was looking at the notes that I had written down, but I was on the wrong page.
Yes. They tried for the flubby kick, and unfortunately, it does go to Brea. Not a very good flubby kick, and Brea is probably just going to eat up the clock here. Physically, they're going to take a clock off the wall, and they will one by one take a bite. They do have to. It looks like they're going to run a play. Wow, they did get a first down, but once again, by running the ball there, they are going to. Continue to hold on to the ball for just a little bit longer and will most likely not have any reason to have to give it up. Flash Rains, player of the game, makes a lot of sense. Made a lot of good defensive plays there.
Really rains it down on the other team. See, this is that wordplay I was talking about.
Yes. I realize that the people at home can't see, but I heard it. And I had to stop, and I kind of put my hand over my heart a little bit and was just sort of touched by, by the wonderfulness of having someone here in the booth with me that understands the importance of words. Words mean things.
Words mean things, Robert, and I couldn't be more excited to be here and to sharing this with you today. And
Howard Johnson, no relation. Yes, it's been an absolute joy. And the clock is going to, let's see, that they've got probably one last taking a knee here in just a moment, and they will do one last proposal, and then that'll be the game. So I want to thank you one last time. Thank you so much, Hank Dankly, for coming out of retirement to commentate on this game with me. What an absolute joy to have you back in the booth.
Well, Steven, it feels like a second home to me being here today, and I've said it before and I'll say it again.
I appreciate that very much. Well, from all of us here at the International Helmetball League, your ending score is Brea Raptors 21, Houston Space 14. We will see you at the next game. Do you want to do your typical sign-off?
Once in a generation, somebody comes along You know, to be perfectly honest, it escapes my memory, but I'm sure it would be profound.
And there it is. All right, we'll catch you on the next game. Goosh.
Melanie, bring the Cadillac around.